simply adore 3D platformers, especially those from the early 2000s. They were just so wacky, bizarre, and just all around. We had a cute yellow ball smashing his butt on things and doing God knows what else. A little boy in a chicken suit rolling giant eggs around, making them bigger, using them to attack enemies and otherwise traverse the land. A sponge fighting off a robot army with bubbles, and a whole lot more. One of the more notable ones of the time involved an elf boy and whatever the heck that is. That game being Jak and Daxter, the precursor legacy. I remember hearing about this game quite a bit when it was new, but seeing how I didn't have a PlayStation 2, I couldn't play it. But relatively recently, I decided to pick up the game merely out of curiosity. So how is it? I actually think that this is one of the absolute best games in the genre. It's up there with Pac-Man World 2, Super Mario 64, and so on. But seeing how this is a review, I obviously need to support such a claim. When I first started playing the game, I had no idea what I was going to get. However, I got really excited when I saw that this game was by Naughty Dog, whose work I really enjoyed in games like Crash Bandicoot and Uncharted. Speaking of Crash Bandicoot, this game shares a few distinct similarities to it. Jak and Daxter is often recognized as the spiritual successor to the Crash series, like what the Top Gear games are to the Lotus Turbo Challenge games, and what Lair is to Star Wars Rogue Squadron. However, even with those similarities, there are quite a few major differences that really make the game its own thing. In fact, it also shares similarities to Super Mario 64. It actually has the same interactive garden style of gameplay. However, and this is going to sound totally insane when I say this, it does everything Super Mario 64 was trying to do, and not only does it better, but a lot better. As far as how the game carries out its own artistic goal, it goes all out, especially in comparison to Mario. How so, you might ask? Well, there's no hub world, there's no level selection screen, it's all one big world you're exploring and interacting with. This is an open world 3D platformer. Awesome! There are distinct areas, but there's always a natural transition. No loading screen, no nothing. You just walk from one area to the other. It's all one big world. This is why I've always said that I wanted to see a 3D Turrican game. I've just wanted to see this sort of thing be done. Though, with that said, there are warp gates that can get you from place to place faster, but using them is almost entirely optional. The one exception is with the training level, but even there you can see the rest of the game's world from that point, so it still remains quite effective. I also feel that the environment itself plays a much bigger role in this than it does in Super Mario 64. Mario 64's major weakness was that you weren't interacting with the environment itself as much as you were with various objects on those environments. While that is somewhat true here, it's not anywhere near as applicable. Even in some of the vehicle stages, like when you're using your zoomer to cross areas too hot to walk on, you have to keep an eye on the heat shield, and you're constantly trying to ensure that the craft itself doesn't get too much exposure to the magma and lava below. The game is full of little things like that. Though one complaint that I do have is that I would have liked to have seen the game go even more all out. The standard 3D platformer cliches are fun and serve their purpose, but I'd like to see a game that just drops those completely and is just entirely about exploring and interacting with the world the game is providing. Again, something more along the lines of the 3D equivalent of a Turrican game. However, I'm really nitpicking here. For what it is, Jak and Daxter is really, really good. It's really smart, focused, and just does a great job of executing what it ultimately wants to achieve. It's quickly becoming one of my favorite games. If you're into 3D platformers and this sounds unbelievably awesome to you, you're going to eat this up. It's really worth playing.
Hello, young warrior. I'm a little tea, but short and stout. Here is my handle, here is my spout.